Happy Friday to you, everyone. Hope you're doing well out there. I had a couple of viewers write into me, and I've also had a couple of cases just like this, what I'm about to describe today in today's video, occur here just recently. And it's occurred over decades and decades. And those cases I'm talking about is when the family dog, or a dog in particular, attacks a very young child, especially children that are so young that they're still crawling across the floor. Now, as you can imagine, when that happens, the absolute shock, I cannot tell you how hurt, how horrified, how shocked the owners of the dog are. It's really unbelievable, and it's really sad when you sit there and talk to them because, of course, their minds are going 1,000 miles an hour. Why did my dog do that, Bryan? Please, I can't own a dog like that. I have grandkids. I have children coming to my house all the time, but I love my dog, and I just don't know what to do with my dog, and I can't understand why a dog would attack a child crawling across the floor, a helpless child. It was completely unprovoked. And so, is it going to happen again? God, you can just feel it. I can't, on my best day, I'd have to win an Oscar to act like they do, to be able to convey the emotions that they have at that moment. It is heart-wrenching, and I definitely understand where they're coming from. I'm a parent. I'm not a grandparent yet, but when that happens and a young child is in my household, should my dog attack that child, wow, that's a really dark day. But I'm going to do my best not to let that happen, and so are you, because I'm going to explain why this does happen, regardless of your dog's temperament, regardless of however long you've owned your dog, regardless of how sweet it is. It happens. And why does it happen? Because number one, they're animals. I can't say that enough. No matter how many times I preach it, no matter how many times I write it, that is the very first step in preventing this from happening to any child, is you accepting the fact that you own an animal. Not a little person. Not even a big one with lots of hair on it. You own an animal. It's not a human. We're different. We're different by our increased reasoning abilities, theory of mind, our hyper-developed cultures, just those things, and a disproportionate potential to transform our environment so as to influence it for our future use. What animal can do that? And I can keep that list going all day long. But for whatever reason, we are in love with anthropomorphism. We want to own substitute people. We want that. Well, you may want it, but you don't own it. And as soon as you come to grips with that, we are already light years ahead. We are already saving children's lives. We're already saving children from trips to the emergency room. The very second you simply do this, it's an animal. And when it's an animal, you don't dare believe for a very 1 second that it will behave like you under similar circumstances. As soon as you wrap your head around that, we are better off. Better off. Okay, another one. Because I am an animal, I, the animal, I decide what is a threat or what's an opponent. Not you. You claim harmless child. I see possible threat. I see an opponent for my valuable resources. And those resources can be anything from food to a toy to a bed and to even you. I've talked about that this week. They're called secure base attachments. And that's what exactly was the cause of the attacks in 2 out of the 4 cases I've just had or received from viewers in the last week and a half. 2 of those were secure base attachments. The dog was trying to guard the most valuable resource to it, that one particular human being. The life ring in a turbulent, stormy sea. the very thing that keeps me alive, and I'm not about to share it with anyone. Not even if it's that tiny and it's crawling across the floor. That's it. And when it decides, that little thing crawling across the floor, the thing that you call harmless, the thing that you call a little child, when that thing comes crawling at it, it's another animal to your animal. And once it decides it's a threat or an opponent, it will only use one of two strategies. Go back to my video on game theory. Hawk strategy, I will immediately attack. Or I may elect to use the dove strategy, which I have two options when I use the dove strategy. Display or flee. Those are choices, and they are the only choices that your animal will make if it perceives that the thing is a threat or an opponent. Now, if you're not a threat and you're not an opponent, then I'll probably just lay there and roll over on my back and let you rub my belly. I'm talking about threats and opponents. There has to be a threat, there has to be an opponent for your dog to attack a child, or your dog to attack another dog, or your dog to attack a human. They're not serial killers. They're not insane. The nice thing about dogs that we can definitely hang our hat on is they're extremely predictable. And I'll have videos come up here real short talking about there is no such thing as an unprovoked attack. I hear that day in and day out, and I hear it from professionals who should know better than that. So if those professionals who should know better than that are preaching that, then God, we're lost. We're lost. So guys, animal, I decide threat or opponent, and I will then employ a hawk or dove strategy. What I employ and when I employ is determined greatly by the distance of the threat or the opponent. If it's a threat, I'm not running to you. I'm not going to run to a gunfight. I'm just telling you that right now. You don't run towards things that you are afraid of. But you will display. So there's two imaginary zones around our dogs and even around humans. There's a threat zone and a critical zone. They expand and contract depending upon the very situation that's occurring at that moment or the location or habitat that I find myself in. You go to a scary place in town, you'll find that they will expand as far as you can see. The threat zone is as far as you can see. You go home, you feel secure, it all contracts tightly around you. So now the threat starts to come towards the dog. As soon as the dog can see it, as soon as the dog will categorize it as a threat or an opponent that's already parked in the threat zone or the opponent zone. There most animals will display. In display, they will go, they'll growl, they'll show their teeth. They may not growl, they may show their teeth. They only give the crescent moon. So don't count on this big animated display, all this warning. Oh, hey, mom and dad, just so you know, if that little kid over here closes within about 3 more feet, I'm going to take its head off. Okay, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. So see, watch me stand up here. Watch my hackles come up. Watch me show my teeth. Watch my ears come forward. Look at that laser beam gaze I'm giving to that child. No, you may get none of those. And depending upon the angle of the attack, you may see nothing. Nothing. You're behind the dog, as was the case in 2 of these attacks. The owner was directly behind the dog. It saw nothing. It didn't see the crescent moon. It didn't see those lips barely curl up. The signals it was sending to the child crawling in its direction to influence that child's behavior. Back. Off. And so when the child didn't, it entered an incredible and extremely dangerous place. The critical zone. Only one of 2 actions happen there when there are threats and opponents. I either now flee, forget display. Display is now over. So I either flee or I attack. It is guaranteed. And anyone that tells you different, they're wrong. And they can talk to me about it. And then come on here on Facebook Live with me. I challenge you. Because this is true. This is real. And as soon as you come to grips with this, then the sooner we save children's lives. I'm serious about this. I'm passionate about it because I'm also getting tired of dealing with it because there's no need to. It just takes a little common sense. It takes you being a parent. You're supposed to be providing the protective custody of your child. When you assume that animals will not do anything, never do something, you are wrong. They're animals. Okay, here's my problem. So I attack one child, I attack one person, I attack one dog. If I perceive I'm the animal again, not you, that I won, then here's another thing you can take to the bank. I'm going to try that again. Unless the opponent is so great. I've looked across the way and I said, wow, look at the resource holding potential of that opponent. Look at the weapons. Look at the size of that opponent. Wow, in his fighting abilities, I've seen it before. I'm not tangling with that. Same thing with a threat. Oh my gosh, that's a hunter. That's a human. I've seen them before. There was a loud bang and I felt pain. I'm out of here. But anything lesser than that, if the animal right then in a millisecond assesses the potential of that threat or that opponent and it is lesser than what your animal's potential is, oh, here we go. Back to the W column. I'm going to employ. That's why I titled my book, The Hammer. Why dogs attack us and how to prevent. The hammer. The hammer. It's a metaphor. It's a tool. They will use that tool. And who uses a hammer on something delicate? Who fixes crystal with a hammer? You wield the hammer for force, for blunt force trauma, to drive something, to break something. And you use it. And it's a valuable tool and it'll keep you alive on the planet Earth should you ever need it. So the animal employs the hammer. It wins. So that means we just now set the stage. We just set the stage. Even if you've never won in your life. Even if you've never won in your life. Nature says that 57 out of 100 meetings with a threat or an opponent, it behooves you to use the hawk strategy. Attack immediately. Game theory. And animals who won, that percentage jumps immediately till it finally goes all the way to about 97%. And the only 3% that's left out there are those things that just happen to come across that are bigger, badder, meaner, faster than me. And then lastly, for aggression to be effective, it has to be swift. No animal's going to go, okay, so just so you know, I'm winding up here, watch me. Hey, you two, my owners back here, watch me. I'm winding up, I'm going to give it, I'm going to give it. No. No, it's lightning fast. Lightning fast. So guys, here's your only choices. You can avoid the situation. You can train the situation. Or you can do both, which I highly recommend. In two of these cases, there were a lot of people at the home. The owners of the dogs were distracted by the company. They weren't paying attention to what the child was doing. And of course, they never believed that their animal was capable of anything like this. I know PhDs who sit there and say, my dog would never do that. Well, you're wrong. You are wrong. And God, please don't go preaching that. I can't stand it when people tell me that I'm wrong and they never sat 4 feet away from a mother who buried her 3-year-old because the family dog took her head off. So don't tell me I'm wrong till you sit there and you interview that person. And then when you've paid that price, you carry that on your soul for the rest of your life, then you come talk to me. So here's what it looks like. So I got my little stuffed doll here. Okay? Crawling across the floor. Here we go. Moving. Anything that moves towards you or me or that dog, anything that moves in that direction. Sorry, we'll let that camera get stabilized here. Good to go, Joshua? All right. Anything moving in our direction can possibly, depending upon the threat assessment that we run, the IFF, identification friend or foe. If we even think foe, we even possibly, could it be a foe? If you're moving in my direction, then you are going to become an increasingly dangerous threat. If you move away from me, you're no longer a threat. If you move laterally to me, now I'm conflicted. You're not leaving, but you're not attacking. But when you come towards me, oh, you just gave that animal all the clues it needs, that after it's done its assessment, that you are coming to either harm it or you are coming to take from it what it is guarding. And you may get away with some of that while this child is out here, crawling across the floor. But as soon as this child breaches this invisible but very real zone, game's over. The attack occurs. And it comes lightning fast. And it comes to a young child who is not capable of withstanding those teeth, that 80 pounds of force, the blunt force trauma, like you could. And then the parents, the owners of the dog, sit there in disbelief. So guys, aggression is what I know as a trainer behaviors more than anything in the world. I know it as a human being from my days in the military. I know it as a human being from my days in law enforcement. It's here on this planet. It lives here on this planet. It dwells in every single one of us. It dwells in every single dog out there. So please, when you have young children around your dog, even toddlers who are at head level, and I've talked about that in previous videos, the principle of resemblance. Anytime you have children around your dog, either A, if you can't pay attention, just put the dog up. Just put it up. If you can pay attention, then you can have your dog out there so it can learn children, interact with children. But you have to watch. You have to look for telltale signs. Stiffening, the head turning, the crescent moon in the eye, maybe hackles, maybe standing. In 2 of these cases, the dog actually stood before the attack. That's all I need. A dog standing stiffly, tail up, not moving. If you saw that as an adult, you're approaching that dog that does that, I guarantee most of you will walk away. You'll go, okay, I'm good. I'm good. I'm not going to pet your dog. I'm good. So why would we think that the same animal that would attack us wouldn't attack that child? Dogs don't get children. They don't understand that they're children. There's some animal crawling on the floor to start with, and then they stand upright, and then they're head level, and now you're for sure an opponent or a threat to me. And then you become bigger than me. So guys, keep this in your mind at all times. Take a screenshot of it. Joshua, zoom in on here. Keep these notes. And when I say train, train a great stay. Train a great place. Put your dog on a cot and say, place. And now when there's a young child, tell that child, tell the parents of that child, hey, can you allow your child to play over here because my dog is over here. Now my dog can assess the child at a distance, can start to learn, study, maybe get some feedback. Yeah, and start to eventually habituate to the child. Ah, you're not a threat. Kind of learn what that little gesture is. What's that sound? Those little things make weird sounds. They have to learn them. So having the dog out gives it an opportunity to learn. But by golly, when you can't control what's happening on both ends, the dog needs to get put up during that moment. Then try again next time when you can give the dog some of your attention. Don't ever turn your eyes away. Don't. Okay, so either avoid or train. A good stay, good place, great come. You see your dog get up and start to move towards the child, come back to me right now. And again, these have to be trained to be spot on reliable. You cannot allow your training to fail in that moment. So there you go. It's an animal. It decides what is a threat of an opponent, not you. It will employ either the hawk or dove strategy. Under the dove, I can take two approaches, either display or flee. Those are typically determined by the location of the threat, if it's approaching, going laterally, or going away. Once it enters a critical zone, it's time for action. Flee or immediately attack. Winners continue to win, so if an attack worked, then attacks keep coming. Losers continue to lose. I attack something, it beats me up, I suffer some sort of bad consequence, then I don't do that again. Humans may, not dogs. So think about avoiding, think about trading, and definitely think about using them both. And keep our little children out there safe, guys. You guys are intelligent people. The people who have been following my videos, I have incredible respect for all of you. The things that I've read from you, your comments, your videos, your pictures, they all give testimony. They all affirm what I feel you are. That incredible dog owner, that incredible parent. But there's others out there that are not you. Please share this video with them. Please do. No offense, but I do take offense when children are attacked needlessly, when it could have been totally prevented. Okay, guys, that's it. I'm done preaching. Welcome to the preaching house here today. All right, and then as Friday is the end of the week, please share this information. And if you have anything that you want to share with me, a story, something that you want me to cover during these videos, send it to me. I will get it out, especially when it comes to something this serious. You guarantee you, I will get it out. All right, guys, be safe. Let's watch our little children. Bless you.